Guys, so I just finished a really great conversation with Jasmine Ama. Now, if you're a social worker and you've done any cursory search for social work on YouTube, you would have seen her videos. She is everywhere. And up until about a year ago, she was doing mostly exclusively social work videos. But she actually moved to Ghana, left her formal social work job, and has been living from her entrepreneurial ventures. So we had a conversation about what that whole process looked like, what money looks like in her life now, and how she's able to give substantially more having left formal social work, but still doing social work activities. You'll see when you watch the video, which we are going to get into right now. But make sure you hit subscribe if you're not already. Like this video, share it with your friends. I'll see you on the other side.
I like to have guests on my channel that have some sort of business venture, who are entrepreneurial minded. And, you know, the goal and the hope is to show and inspire social workers that, you know, money does not have to be our Achilles heel. Like, we can earn money. Our skills are valuable. There are ways to leverage our skills in ways that we truly, thoroughly enjoy. And I feel like you're doing that so brilliantly. So can you just start a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. Can you just start and share with us what made you able to move or to leave social work? Like, what was going through your mind? And especially, how did you plan out? Because I watched one of your videos and you said that you planned the move. And I want to know what that looked like from a financial basis.
Okay, all right, sure. So I practiced social work for about 6 years. So after I graduated uni, I went straight into work. Well, not really. I did go traveling a little bit, and then I went straight into working. And the first entrepreneurial venture that I ventured into was jewelry. So I just naturally had a curiosity around like how I can make money without necessarily relying on anybody. So even though I had a job, I had a 9-to-5 job that I went to, I always felt the need to find other ways to make money. Not because I needed the extra income, but just because I felt like I had extra skills that can be applicable in other places. And doing YouTube, I initially didn't know I could make money. It was more just a way to share information that I didn't get when I started out as a social worker. And then over time, I started to realize, oh, this is actually an opportunity to make some extra money. So I've just always been interested in making my own rather than, because, you know, with work, it gets to points where you can be laid off, or you may not necessarily enjoy the work environment, but you don't have as much control around that. You know what I mean? No matter what is going on in your workplace, there's not much you can do about it. It's like you just suck it up and go to work. You know what I mean? If it comes to, say, supervision, if you're not getting as much supervision as you prefer to, you may talk about it a couple of times, but it's not up to you. It's a whole organization that so in order for me to have a little bit of control, I've always been interested in entrepreneurship. So that was what sort of pushed me into starting to think about how I can make my own money and things I can do. So the jewelry thing wasn't really a thing that I thought through. It was just like, oh, I think they sell really cheap jewelry in China. I could buy a few and then see if I could make some money off that. I sold maybe 100 pieces over a period of 6 months or something. I didn't really put much effort into it. There was not much planning or anything around that, because I guess I didn't have a deep connection to it or anything like that. It was just like an experiment type of thing. So that was the first thing I did. And then I continued doing YouTube as I realized that it started to pay. And I was also curious about what else I could do with the skills that I had acquired through university as well. So for most social work jobs, I mean, I spoke about this on my channel quite a bit. I feel like it's quite tough work. It's emotionally draining. It's exhausting. And when you provide direct work, your income can only go so high. Like it gets to a point and then it stalls. Like unless you're willing to go into like a CEO position of like an NGO, or you want to move into like a managerial position where you don't, and in those positions as well, you don't really get to do the whole direct work with people. And I think most social workers enjoy that whole interaction and stuff like that. Right. So if you're wanting to move up financially, generally you have to like let go of that and then move to the next point, deal with policies and stuff like that. And that wasn't something that I found interesting. I thought that was really boring. So I kept thinking about how I could continue to work with people, but also make an income that was comfortable for me. So that was part of the thought process for me as well. And I felt like I had developed my people skills so well over time as well. Prior to becoming a social worker, I was very quiet, like I'm just sitting in my own corner, don't talk to me type of thing. Yeah. And then over time, I started having to talk to random people about really personal problems and stuff like that. I gradually developed the confidence around that. And
can we just stop right there? Just because I think this is a really teachable moment. Well, this entire conversation is teachable, but I think, I think what's so good about that is, number one, like you paid attention to where your skills were building, and and you valued that, personal development side of things. I know a lot of times social workers don't count that as a skill or don't count that as valuable. They just like, oh, well, it's something that I do because I'm an adult now. I have to do it. But you were not only able to recognize that that was something that you developed, but also see it as something that was valuable and that could help propel you. So that's all. So continue. I think that's great.
Yeah, so recognizing that really helped me out, because I've just felt like if I'm going to try to find a way to make money, then my understanding of people is really important. Because that's the only way I can actually provide something to them that's really valuable. And then in turn, I can make money off of that. I can make a living off of that. And so after my jewelry business, then I attended I was actually really into personal development. Like I read a lot of books about it. I attended a few seminars and stuff like that. I did one with Tony Robbins a couple of years back. And then when I returned, I started thinking about what are my values, what is important to me, what do I want in my business, and that type of thing. And that was when I started to think about starting a natural skincare and hair care line. And that's how that became a main source of income for me. So
that was while you were in Australia?
That was while I was in Australia. That's right. Yes.
That became the main income source for you while you were working?
No, it became a main source of income. No. Okay. It didn't become a main source of income whilst I was. So no, whilst I was working, my income from work was my main source of income. But I mean, right now, it's one of my main sources of income currently.
Yeah. So talk us through that whole planning process financially, making sure that, okay, I can move from Australia to Ghana. I moved many years ago from the US to Jamaica and did not go through that process. It was very painful for many years. But I will say that that's why I'm so passionate now, with Rich Social Worker, because it was from that not preparing well. I didn't know I should have prepared. But then realizing oh shoot, money is really important. So what was your process like?
Okay, so for me, I started thinking about the possibility of moving to Ghana about 5 years before I actually moved. And generally, I mean, I've been a decent saver, generally speaking. Even if I didn't have anything to save towards, I would always make sure I had a little money in my account just in case of anything. So that was when I started thinking about it. I started thinking about, okay, so, I mean, going to Ghana on holiday and actually living there are two completely different things. You know what I mean? If you go to Ghana, how are you actually going to make money? Whilst you're in Australia, this is how much you make every month. Obviously, that's going to stop when you go to Ghana. How are you going to manage? How are you going to pay for things? how, what do you want to do? So luckily I had enough savings to put towards a home at that point, but that was more from just me being a saver from previous. I don't think there was much thinking going into that. It was just, I just saved quite a bit of money at that time. So I came and I bought a home because I was like, okay, that will cut a lot of my costs if I move to Ghana. But at the same time, I still need ongoing income. What am I going to do? And at that point, I think I had about a few subscribers at that time. I think I had maybe 8,000, something like that. So I was making a little money, but it really wasn't that much. But at the same time, I was like, okay, can I come to Ghana and like really reduce the cost of living over here for me and manage that amount of money? But then I was like, no, I don't think so. Okay. But at that point, I was only uploading like when I felt like it, really. I wasn't really uploading consistently. So I thought about it. I was like, okay, what if I started to upload a little more often? Because that is like work that you don't have to be in any particular place to do. You can do it when you move to Ghana, just continue uploading consistently, see what happens. Even if you make like $500 a month from that can keep you going until whatever business you want to do picks up. So that was how I started thinking about it. And then I thought I obviously had some savings as well that I could fall back on just in case of anything. So then I started planning how what kind of videos I wanted to shoot now that I'm moving away from social work, because most of the people that followed me for social work, because all my content was around social work. Right. So now that I'm quitting social work and moving to Ghana, it's going to be a completely different topic. How do I maintain my followers? How do I keep it interesting? I had to think about all that. So I did a bit of research on like what's popular on YouTube right now, and then I realized that Ghana was actually like quite an interesting topic for people. So that gave me a little bit of hope as well. At the same time, I still didn't really expect that it was going to do that well. Like, I mean, I had no idea. Because when I came to Ghana on holiday, I would vlog, but it was all very, as I said, whenever I felt like it, because it's just like a little hobby that I was doing. Yeah. And then once I finally moved, so I filmed like 10 videos back to back, scheduled all of them before I moved, because I knew the beginning of the move will be too busy and I probably can't film anything. Yeah. So as those videos started going up, I realized that people were actually really interested in this type of content. And then once I started gaining traction, I just never let go of it. I just held on to it and just kept doing better and better and better and better. And and then gradually it just became a thing. So I guess I'm kind of a YouTuber now. It's not really a hobby anymore. It's more like a job now.
I think you're kind of a YouTuber because the video that inspired me to reach out to you for this conversation, you talked about how you're really supported, like financially, between YouTube and the beauty business. Yeah. So not only does it provide for your, basic needs, but your needs, not only your needs, but you're able to still serve and still give. And that's the conversation that I want to have too, because, I know social workers are like, oh, but, I've heard them say, like, I don't want to be rich. In fact, I used to say that too. Like, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. And I'm like, right. Yeah, but you're over here. You're the same person that's crying in the corner about how you can't give and you can't serve because you can barely, support yourself. So I love that you regularly give. And it's because of these ventures. So talk about that for us, please.
Okay. So I think I'm just naturally a social worker. A lot of the stuff that I do, it was more out of my creative interest. I was like, I actually want to share documentaries about realistic living in Ghana. So in the beginning, it was never necessarily my intention to put people out there where they get help. It was more for me to get to know them as people. And then I would usually give them something at the end of the video just to say thank you for their time and that kind of thing. And if they had any issues that they would tell me about, if I can help, then I will help. And I don't think I thought too much about that. That just came naturally to me. If I can help anybody around me, I will. So generally it was more like a creativity thing. I just thought this would be interesting. Like most of the videos on Ghana on the internet is about these fancy resorts and stuff like that. I actually want to showcase the beauty in the other side of Ghana, where it's just people living regular lives. So in getting to know them and speaking to them and sharing their stories, people decided to reach out and say, hey, how do I support this lady, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, wow, I never expected that, but what an opportunity to grab onto and then continue to do that to support multiple people. So now I've supported like a lot of people through that, and I still continue to do that. So that's really, really great. But I don't think I thought too much about the social work aspect of it. I felt like it just came naturally to me.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the other thing is, I mean, I think once you've been trained in social work and you practice in a social work space, I think it's, yeah, like you said, it kind of becomes a part of you, right? Even if you don't actively, like yesterday, somebody asked me if I wanted to donate when I was shopping, and I'm like, of course,
okay.
Of course I would.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I'm not gonna say no. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say no. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what I need to ask you. These questions. So my viewers, I told them that you were coming on the channel, and I asked them what they wanted me to ask you. So Be Right, WRITE, asked a few questions. So let's see. What was it like transitioning from social work to making a living producing content online? I feel like you said that a little bit.
Yeah, I just go into that a little bit. I think for me, it was kind of, that's where I needed to be at that point in my life. And I'm quite spontaneous in that. Like if I feel like this is the right thing to do right now, I just go ahead and do it. You know, I just do a bit of planning, and then I just go for it. That's just, so it wasn't really that difficult. Quitting my job in my last role, I was kind of over it because I didn't get much supervision and stuff like that. But the one prior to that, which I did for 3.5 years or so, that was a little bit hard to transition from that because I really enjoyed that position. That was like a domestic violence counselor role, and I just enjoyed the whole conversation about patriarchy and all that. So that was a little bit harder to transition from that to child protection. But from child protection, getting out of that wasn't too hard because I kind of was over it by that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think should be a long-term career move for most of us.
It's too much.
Yeah. Oh, and the follow-up question was, what were some of the challenges associated with making that shift?
I think the challenges is just the unknown, not being sure of what's going to happen once you quit this completely and then move into a completely different career. Being on YouTube as well, being in a space where it's basically 90% social workers that follow me. Am I going to lose all my subscribers? But I just had to have faith in the process. I just felt like if this is the right thing to do, then just go ahead and give it a go. Like, I didn't have any major commitments as well. So I think that was in my favor. I didn't have any babies. I didn't have a husband or anything like that. So if anything goes south, it's only going to affect me and nobody else. You know what I mean? So that made it a little bit easier for me to just go ahead and give it a go. It was more just being spontaneous and giving it a go and just planning as much as I could. Like, the worst that could happen was go back and find another social work job. That was basically that was basically the worst that could happen. So yeah, it wasn't that bad when she thought about it.
And not only have you not lost subscribers, but you've gained, like, I think, do you have like 50,000 now or something?
I'm 68,000 now, actually.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great. And what I understand about monetization on YouTube is that advertisers will pay more for videos that are in certain genres and niches.
That's
And I imagine that there's more advertisers willing to pay more for content like you have now, as opposed to what you had before.
That's right. Absolutely. That's very true. And I think the content that I was producing before was, I guess it wasn't entertaining. It was quite educational. So it's like, unless you're coming on YouTube trying to find what does solution-focused therapy mean, you probably won't find me. But a lot of the content that I'm producing now, even though there's some informative ones, a lot of it is purely entertainment as well. So, and that's what I think people go on YouTube mainly for entertainment. So it's definitely getting a lot more traction now than I was getting before.
Do you mind sharing what you're earning from YouTube?
I can tell you the minimum. The minimum I would make would be like maybe 3,000
US
in a month. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And that's from YouTube, not from your beauty business. We haven't talked so much about your beauty business. I'm sorry. Like,
that's right. No, that's all right.
Because I know that's a huge part. And I know too that in your videos, you showcase your beauty products as well.
Yes.
So how did that happen? I know you talked about, the thinking process, but is it like, you find a manufacturer or you partner with someone, or what's that process like?
I think it depends on what you want and how big you want it to be. For me, mine is all handmade. So I'm not using big manufacturing companies or anything like that. It's all done within my home and it's all handmade. So I don't use a manufacturer. I do use a manufacturer for my plastic containers and stuff like that. But other than that, it's all made within my home, at my house. Everything is labeled by me, shipped out by me. It's all done by me. So
that's original.
That's it. So that was something I started learning about whilst I was in Sydney. After I made the decision to start, moving towards that direction of like a side hustle type thing. So I started researching about it.
Oh, I love that. That's so great. That's so great. Okay, so I have one more question from a subscriber. Angelica asked, as a social worker, did you feel underpaid, and what did you do about it?
Did I feel underpaid? I think in my first job, I did. In my first job, I wasn't really making much. It was a very small NGO, and it was funded under the government, but there wasn't much funds there at all. It was within a group home. We used to work with adolescents who had come from child protection and were between the ages of 15 to 18, so prior to them going into the community on their own. And that job didn't pay that well, although I enjoyed it at the time. But I definitely felt underpaid, but I can't even remember, what did I do to manage that? I think at that time, because it was my first job, I still lived at home. I didn't have major responsibilities. So financially it was okay, but it was very exhausting for the amount of money I was making. So I did that for a year just to get it on my resume. And I knew like it was a stepping stone. It was my first job out of uni. It's very hard to get a job out of uni with no experience. Even when you've done your practicals and stuff like that, generally people want paid experience. So when I got that opportunity, I had to take it up. And I just looked at it as a stepping stone. So I just stuck it out for a year and then moved on right after. Yeah.
So any advice, any final advice for viewers as it relates to, stepping out there, leaving, I don't know about leaving a job, but starting a new venture or thinking about using their creativity to make money? Any thoughts about that? Final thoughts?
I think just don't underestimate your capabilities. Like, always pay attention to what you're good at, your strengths. Social workers are probably the best people to do business because we deal with different types of people on a daily basis. So if you've ever considered entrepreneurship, I think you should definitely give it further thought. Think about what you're good at. Think about skills that you could bring from your current job into that entrepreneur job, and you don't have to start off big. Like, you can just start off wherever you are. If you're just selling little things, if you're just doing like a coaching business, I don't know, whatever it is you want to do, just start off small and then gradually build it up. That way you're not overwhelmed. And like, it's possible. You can definitely make some good money, even though your qualification is social work. I think, as I said before, unless you're willing to move out of the direct work positions, it's very hard to make a decent income from like an ongoing job. So if you're really wanting to work at your financial stability, then it's probably worthwhile considering other forms of income using your skills as a social worker.
Very well said. Thank you so much. All right. Tell us where we can find you and buy your wonderful products. And I'm assuming you ship internationally. And follow you online. Although I'm sure, I feel like my audience already follows you online. They followed you
probably
before they followed me. Yeah. So.
So it's Jasmine Ama on YouTube, Jasmine Ama on Instagram, Jasmine with a double E on Instagram. And my website for purchasing my natural hair and skin products is Luscious, LUSCIOUS.com. lusciousskinandhair.com. That's it. www.lusciousskinandhair.com. Yes.
Give somebody else the business.
I know, right?
Yeah.
By giving the wrong link. Yeah.
By giving the wrong link.
That's yeah. So yeah, follow me, check me out. Chase your dreams. I think it's possible to live a comfortable life as a social worker. So don't underestimate yourself.
It's absolutely possible. You are living proof.
Yeah.
Thank you for not just your journey, but sharing your journey. I feel like there probably are, I know there are other social workers who have done similar things, but they're not, we don't know who they are. We don't see them. So I'm always excited to have people to bring to the audience to say, see, here's a real life person doing it. You can do it too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jasmine. I always say at the end.
That's all right. Thank you for having me, Eva.
Yeah, you're absolutely. I always say to my viewers, I believe you can dream, be, do, or have anything you want, just like Jasmine. But it starts with your mindset, so make sure it's a rich one. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.